Guys, welcome into my college football week number 13 total value best bets, where we look for the analytical value combined with the nuance of the professional bettors. And I think I've got about 15 different ones here where everything aligns and comes together. And then we will look at the SP plus values as well at the end of this video. But first, we've got Tulane at Cincinnati, the over 46.5. I think this game actually might, by the time this gets uploaded, the game already is happening, so I apologize. But this actually, I would actually advise against this anyways, because Ben Bryant, Cincinnati's quarterback, is out apparently. Number 2, Baylor at Texas, the under 56. Texas is a very inconsistent team in terms of their offense. You really don't know what you're going to get. This is an 11 a.m. Central start, so I can see it. Arizona State at Arizona, the under 65.5. I really would advise against that. Normally, when it comes to analytical models, especially this year with the unders in the Pac-12, you're seeing all of these analytical models say take the under because of the value, when in reality we know that there's a reason this over-under is at 65.5. It's because Arizona has a horrible defense. I mean, we saw an over-under in a USC-Arizona game that was 77 in the over hit, and everyone was like, take the under because it's the value. So I really wouldn't look too much into the Pac-12 games personally. New Mexico plus the 7.5 at Colorado State. This is just betting that Colorado State is not good enough. I mean, New Mexico clearly is a bad team, but even if Colorado State wins this game, 7.5 is not a fun number to bet. Michigan plus 7, it's now plus 8 at Ohio State. And guys, I would really advise against this bet. I just got a weather update in this game, and it is going to be 100% perfect, absolutely beautiful, 55 degrees, no clouds at all, perfect sunny. So Michigan, their injury situation, I think Ohio State, the more I see this game, the more clear it gets. I think Ohio State wins that game very easily personally. How about South Carolina, the value there, plus the 14.5 at Clemson? South Carolina is a very hard team to bet on this year because they've been so inconsistent. We've seen weeks where their offense looks horrible against teams like Missouri, things like that, and then they come back and they annihilate Tennessee. They run out of actual fireworks because they scored so many touchdowns. Now they're on the road at Clemson. Guys, Clemson is a very level football team. I don't think they have a chance at making the playoff unless some crazy things happen, even with just one loss, because the ACC is so down this year. They need a TCU loss. They need a USC loss, and I think they need Michigan to get blown out by Ohio State to have a chance personally. But, you know, they like South Carolina, the value plus the 14.5. It is an attractive number. The only thing I would say is South Carolina's been so inconsistent this year. Kent State plus 4 at Buffalo. So this is one across the board that everyone loves, the value on Kent State plus 4. Also, the over 53 on this game is loved by a lot of people in the MAC. Memphis at SMU, the under 69. So that is a lot of points to score. Memphis is a really offense that's up and down, up and down, up and down. SMU, of course, we know they were involved in that 120-point game. Tanner Mordecai threw 9 touchdown passes. But the value here apparently is on the under. It is a high number to reach. Minnesota plus 3.5 at Wisconsin. This is such an attractive value here. You're looking at Wisconsin. They're not explosive at all. Even if they win this game against Minnesota, it'll probably be by a field goal or so. And the line got moved up. It was actually at 3, now at 3.5. Minnesota's an even more attractive bet there. Wake Forest at Duke, the under 66.5. So this is mainly due really to Duke overall, and the fact that this game is away for Wake Forest. Duke, a little bit more of a lower scoring team with Riley Leonard, the quarterback. You see this game, even if it's 33-30, which, I mean, I understand why the over-under is 66.5. It's due to Wake Forest. They've got a good offense and a really bad defense. I get it. But to me, Duke probably dictates this game a little bit more because they're at home, and these are two evenly matched teams, with Wake Forest only being 3-point favorites. I could see Duke keeping this game a little bit lower scoring. Again, if it's 33-30, I mean, the under hits in that case. We've got a few more. Appalachian State at Georgia Southern, the under 63.5. So these tend to be really good value, these type of unders that involve a team like Appalachian State. If we do trust Appalachian State and their defense to dictate this game, the reason the over-under is over 60 is because of Georgia Southern. But if they get completely manhandled by Appalachian State and App State keeps it lower scoring, the under should hit easily. It's a clash of two different philosophies. You have Georgia Southern. They're all offense. They love to throw the ball. And then you've got App State a little bit more balanced. If we trust Appalachian State to control this game, the value is on the under because we think Appalachian State is a better team even though they're going on the road. Those are starting to make more sense to me. Boston College plus the 10.5 versus Syracuse. I love this bet. I am shocked a lot of the overall general public is on Syracuse in this game. On the road, minus 10.5. It's just the way Boston College plays. You know what? I'm guessing it's because Boston College got throttled last week, but this is what Boston College does. They get throttled, then they come back and they play well. Now they're at home against the Syracuse team who's a shell of themselves. They don't even know which quarterback to start. Boston College is the value there, I agree. Notre Dame at USC, the under 64.5. This is another clash. So if we're going to bet the under 64, we are going to trust Notre Dame to control a lot of this game and really keep it lower scoring. I think any over-under, when it's like 64.5 in a game involving Notre Dame, the value is on the under because Notre Dame is just not a higher scoring team. They want to run the ball. They want to play defense, keep it lower scoring. I think what most of the general public sees in this game is Caleb Williams possibly having a Heisman moment. And that's why there's a lot of the general public on the over. But the professionals and the value in this game is on the under 64.5 because we figure the way Notre Dame's played with their defense, keep it lower scoring. And again, guys, 64.5 is a bigger number, even for college. If it was like 59.5, okay, now you're talking about value on the over. When it gets up to the mid-60s and you've got a team like Notre Dame, you start to like the under. Oklahoma -2 at Texas Tech. Oklahoma has been inconsistent, but recently they've been better. Texas Tech, I know they're good at home, but this is one where I saw it and I do really like it. I like Oklahoma. If Oklahoma wins this game outright, they're probably covering. It's basically a pick 'em. When I see a 1 or a 2 point spread, I just have to pick the team, and 95% of the time they're going to end up covering. So you think Oklahoma, are they going to finish 7-5 or 6-6? This is so important for them to have some momentum. Brett Venables, he's got that defense playing better. There is an improvement. They've got way more talent. Dylan Gabriel's playing good. They have, significant offensive weapons with Marvin Mims. So Oklahoma, I really like them just to win this game outright, even though it is on the road. Tennessee at Vandy, the under 64.5. So Tennessee with a backup quarterback, you have to say the value is on the under. The only issue is Tennessee has a horrible defense, and Vanderbilt does have significant momentum right now. And it's a situation where could Vanderbilt score into the 30s? It is possible, but it's not likely. That's why the value isn't on the under there. Kansas at Kansas State, the under 62.5. So this is trusting Kansas State to completely dictate this game because, this is a situation where Kansas has a horrible defense. They're terrible, but if Kansas State gets up big early, they might just sit on the ball, and you could be looking at you get a 42-17 type game. You do get the under hitting, the under 62.5. So that is understandable there. And then Air Force at San Diego State, the over 43.5. This is mainly due to Air Force's offense being very efficient, along with San Diego State kind of having an offensive resurgence in the second half of the year. But guys, those are the Week 13 total value plays. Let's go to the SP Plus now. So this is actually my first time looking this SP Plus over, and I think I'm just going to not focus on the Black Friday games because unfortunately a lot of these games are about to start. We're just going to kind of go down. Dude, this is something I'll never understand. The SP Plus, they just haven't gotten around to understanding how bad Iowa's offense is. They have Iowa scoring 29 points. I mean, come on. We have to disregard that, don't we? They have New Mexico covering, but barely. That's one of the ones. UCLA, guys, I really love UCLA. I know people were talking about a UCLA letdown after their emotional loss to USC. I like UCLA, man. They've got a really fun offense and a really fun team in general. This is completely wonky. The Coastal Carolina, the model cannot account for Grayson McCall being out, so I would not focus on that at all. They love Georgia to win 48-0. I don't know about that, man. They love Georgia covering, though, the 35-point spread, and they like the under as well. What's the over-under in that? 49? Okay, this is a little wonky. It says the over-under is 49. They have Georgia scoring 48, but then they say it's a spread difference of -5.5. I don't know what that is. Ohio State, Michigan, they let every analytical system is going to like Michigan to cover the 8-point spread. That's just based off of how the teams have been playing. They love the under in the Liberty, New Mexico State game. Maybe some value on that. They love South Alabama to annihilate Old Dominion. Wow, at home. Possible value on Oklahoma State. Yeah, I don't know about Oklahoma State, guys. That's tough. But look at the overs here. There's value apparently on the over in South Carolina Clemson. I would caution people on that. There's some weather in that game. And there's value on the over 66.5 in the West Virginia Oklahoma State game. Just a few other games over. Oh, yeah, guys, this is one of the best bets of the week. The Kent State Buffalo over 53 is a really good bet. The Akron at Northern Illinois over 55, another really good bet. North Texas, I love North Texas minus the 13.5. A lot of people are in on Louisville, and they do like Louisville to cover, and they have Kentucky winning this game by 1 point. They love, this is another great bet. The over on the Auburn-Alabama game, great bet there, and they have Alabama covering. Wow, they have Alabama winning 41-15. Guys, a lot of that is because Alabama's 2 losses this year were by such thin margins that they're really treating Alabama almost like they're an undefeated team. So they're going to really juice them up. I love San Jose State, man. I know a lot of people are taking Hawaii plus 15 because Hawaii's been decent. But, dude, San Jose State, Hawaii is still terrible. San Jose State is a good team. And they like the under 56.5 in that game. I don't know if I would agree with that. The Illinois Northwestern game, I agree. I think Illinois is going to throttle Northwestern. The only question there is, does Illinois have a good enough offense? I mean, they do have Northwestern scoring a safety. They've got it at 30-5. Imagine. Boy, they like the under in that, don't they? They like Memphis to actually win outright on the road at SMU. I would not trust that. They love, guys, Minnesota is another great bet. So we're starting to see some really good bets here. Minnesota plus 3.5 on the road at Wisconsin is a really good bet. And I would say, the over-under in this game got adjusted. I think it's at 38 right now, so there's not value on it anymore. They have Oregon beating Oregon, barely covering. I wouldn't take much stock into that. Purdue, Indiana, the over 55.5. That's mainly due to Indiana's offensive resurgence. They love the over in UAB and Louisiana Tech. I would agree with that. Absolutely. They like TCU to cover against Iowa State. I would strongly disagree with that. I think TCU is going to be playing a close game against Iowa State because Iowa State is an underrated team. They like Penn State covering. Everyone loves Penn State. It's what they've been doing recently. They've got them covering and winning by 24 against MSU. Utah against, Colorado is so bad. And they like, guys, you know what? There might be significant value on this over in the Utah-Colorado game because Colorado can score a little bit. I don't know. I would just say bet Utah minus 29.5, honestly. Southern Miss. That's another one of the bets that I saw. Southern Miss to cover the 3-point spread on the road at UL Monroe. UCF to cover the 18-point spread. They're dealing with a quarterback injury there. But yeah, that's been trending heavily in UCF's. The line in that, I think, is down to 19.5. It's because South Florida is so bad. They have USC covering versus Notre Dame. I disagree with that personally. They do have the under hitting by just by a point. They like the over in the Syracuse-Boston College game. Yeah, I disagree with that. The Tennessee game is going to be wonky because they can't account for the Hendon Hooker injury. And then take a look at these lines. The Tulsa-Houston game, they love the over 67. It's understandable. They love the over, and yes, this is another really good value bet. The Pittsburgh-Miami over 44. It's a value play. You would think it's a value play. Air Force at San Diego State, they love the under. Holy crap. They have that game at... I cannot see that game being 20-14. I'm sorry. I think there's going to be more points scored in that game. Washington State, Washington, this is another one that's very odd. They like the under. I would disagree with that completely. BYU and Stanford, they have ending in a 33-33 tie. Hilarious. But those are just some of the S&P Plus best picks there. But guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description.